That, Kurt, former FBI official Frank Figliuzzi said that the president's call with Putin effectively gave Russia a green light to meddle in our election again. I mean, compare that to what Secretary Pompeo said. What are your thoughts on this?
You know, we've seen time and again this president refuse to even acknowledge the legitimate intelligence findings that Russia interfered in our election. Standing next to Vladimir Putin, he's refused to believe our own intelligence. He has time and again chosen foreign adversarial dictators over the very people that he's appointed, the very people that work for us, the very people who put their lives on the line every single day to try to keep our democracy safe. And now, after the Mueller report and the way that he's disparaged it, all of it, calling it fake, calling it a hoax, he's giving the green light to Russia, saying, hey, whatever you did last time, you can do that times 100 now. If we thought that it was bad last time down, imagine how much more problematic it's going to be with a president who's acquiescent in this, with a Republican Party who doesn't seem to want to do anything about this either. They have a complete green light, and we know that they haven't stopped doing what they were trying to do. They haven't tried to undo the hacking of our election systems, looking at voter rolls, going into local and county and state election offices and trying to get information and data. It's only going to be accelerated this time down.
Guys, I want to ask you all about, I'll start you, Susan, with you, Susan, about Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who's told the New York Times she's worried that the president could challenge the legitimacy of a Democratic victory in 2020. We have to inoculate against that. We have to be prepared for that. Ms. Pelosi said as she discussed her concern that Mr. Trump would not give up power voluntarily if he lost re-election by a slim margin next year. It's a pretty serious charge, Susan, from someone who picks her words quite carefully.
She does, but let's face it, she's doing it based on Trump's history. He was ready to call 2016 a rig election if he didn't win. So, of course, it's a potential. And in that story, I think that Speaker Pelosi was also looking to say to Democrats, we have to get a huge turnout and keep our numbers in the House strong and win by huge margins, not just in the total tallies, but in the Electoral College as well, which is really her trying to center the party. So there was a little twofold there.
Is that what do you agree with that, Kurt? I mean, is that what's motivating Pelosi to raise these concerns right now?
I think that Pelosi realizes the single best way to ensure that Donald Trump doesn't return to the office is with an complete and clear decisive victory across all popular vote, Electoral College, keeping the House majority for Democrats, making some inroads in the Senate. A complete wipeout of Trump is the only way that this is going to work. Because, again, we saw in 2016, he started talking about the rigged election. Right after that, he even had the investigation looking at illegal immigrant voting, which turned out there was no evidence to support that at all, and he had to close that voter commission that he started to look into it. So we see the signs every day of a person who thinks more like a dictator than someone who's been freely elected in a democratic process.
So politically speaking, Jonathan, the Speaker's strategy to avoid this scenario that she's concerned about is